Okay? I took a cue from the white man himself. You know, he has lots of, if you spend enough time in your libraries on psychological journals and so forth, you find that Western people have a lot of information, you know, explaining how people function either more out of the left hemisphere of the brain or the right hemisphere of the brain. And they go on to describe how the left hemisphere works and how the right hemisphere works. Okay? All I did was take it to the logical conclusion, to the ultimate unavoidable conclusion. Because when you look at Western culture, Western society, the Western way of life, you find that it is a product of, a way of looking at the world and thinking that's dominated by the left hemisphere of the brain. I came to the conclusion, and I posited the theory, that unless people elevate their consciousness through spiritual practices, then they, to a large degree, they remain the victims of biological forces within their being. Okay? The instinctive, we know that people are controlled a great deal by their biological urges, don't we? Okay? So, unless you raise your consciousness beyond the biological imperative, then your whole culture, your whole way, your philosophy, you think you're dealing in the high mind when everything is being colored by the lowest part of your being. Okay? So, this left hemispheric way of looking at the world. The left hemisphere of the brain looks at the world and fails to see the things that unite things to one another, because that's the reality. Things are in unity with each other in the world, period. That is the reality. But the left hemisphere fails to see the unity because its function is to separate things from each other. That's why we have a culture that says to you, food has nothing to do with avoiding illness and healing. Drugs is what you must take to heal yourself. Women cannot, play any important role in the highest aspect of government and in religion and things of that nature. Jesus was a man, so therefore, there can be no female bishops and popes. They no longer say that, but that is the reason why there are no female bishops and popes and cardinals. Okay? Okay? So I want you to understand, where that comes from. It's the left side of the brain. It's the biological imperative that imposed itself on a so-called philosophy. They're thinking with their biological nature. But they're telling you that, we're giving you religious and philosophical information here. That is dangerous. You see? Because the African way is that before you set yourself up to teach and to lead others, you must raise above the biological forces within your being. Okay? Otherwise you get Jimmy Sweargarts and things like that. But he's not an anomaly because he's only there because there are a lot of people who are saying, it's all right, Jimmy. Scary, man. Strange. He should be a black preacher, man. He'd be run out of the community, man, the next day. Talking so bad about him. So I have a lot of hope for black folks because he could not do that in any black church. He could not go anywhere and pull a spout like that. They'll run him out. You might say, black people seeing of unity is also a product of the right hemisphere of the brain. Okay? And I say, yes, that is true. Okay? But we have the record, the Kemetic, Sumerian, Canaanitic, philosophical, historical records show that these people had arisen, that had grown to the point where they were able to see the connection, the interdependence between the two hemispheres of the brain, and to develop and cultivate means of developing both sides of the brain. And it is embodied in the teachings, the doctrine of Ma'ati, the two truths. Okay? And I want you to understand, by the way, that is where the whole idea of two-party government system and things that came from, even though it has been distorted beyond recognition by European people. Okay? So, the black way of life, the record is that we have gone beyond this domination by the biological part of our being through spiritual techniques that we developed. Perhaps it's just merely a function that we have been, maybe because we came on this earth before the white man. You know what I mean? The white man said it himself. He said that they came out of us. I mean, that's their own science, their own findings. So maybe it's just, I'm not saying that we're smart or whatever. It could just simply be a function of us being an older people and grown a little bit, more and so forth. Then he ought to respect his elders, right? But he has no respect for elders, so we'll teach him though. So, I just said to you that in the Western society we find this belief that teenage pregnancy is approached, they think of different causes than drug addiction. Okay? Different causes from, juvenile delinquency. It's a different cause for that. Okay? Different cause for, high blood pressure. Why people have why cancer is so rampant. They're all different causes. Okay? In the traditional African society, in the Kemetic teachings, we say that people fail to raise their children properly, leading to certain problems. People fail to live properly, leading to certain illnesses, to certain kind of social disharmonies, because they have deviated from the path of life that is in harmony with their true nature. So if you know who you are and live according to your life path, then you will avoid these problems.